Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to be looking and jumping back into the forever evolving drama known as the Delirious drama or the Ohmwrecker drama, whatever people call it. It's kind of evolving a little bit. It went from Ohm against Delirious to Louis Caliber against TJV somehow. And honestly, I prefer Louis against TJ just because it's something new, and not to say that I have nothing new to talk about, because we're going to be looking at and reading some comments that Ohm made on TJV's video because they are pretty interesting if I'm being honest. And of course, shout out to my channel members, though I don't have that many. I am thankful to have them. So thank you for supporting me an extra step. Alright, so the comments that Ohmwrecker made, so I'm sure that you guys know by now when it comes to Ohmwrecker, he tends to write a whole ass Harry Potter book, and well, if you look here, yeah, it's a lot. So let's just get right into it already because it's going to be a lot of reading, so bear with me here. But the first paragraph says, there are some real double standards in the community response to TJV trying to share findings on both sides. TJV has had many emails going with Delirious. From what I understand, Delirious is not being honest with them. Delirious was Ray Harpy. Delirious was Susan Storm, who was emailing drama channels, and he had many more alts than what people even know. His alts that were harassing me go as far as back as May 2021 before the Keemstar interview. Okay, so to be fair, the Ray Harpy account could very well be Delirious, but there isn't 100% proof that it was him, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Delirious was the Susan Storm person that sent me and other commentary channels emails about the forums, mostly because Delirious was sending me the exact same stuff on the Pizza Pirate account. Now, I'm not saying that he is behind the Susan Storm, but it's not a far-fetched, claim. Considering that Liz also did say that the point of the accounts was to point out the information against Ohmwrecker or his past bad behaviors, which was about the forums and the court case that Crow and Sen covered, and was also the same thing that the Susan Storm email sent me, and the same other accounts that Delirious had, which tried to spread the forums and argue against people who were against him on said accounts. And honestly, I feel like the most heat Delirious and LizCat has received is just criticism and a bit of hate that isn't even considered harassment. And I've seen a couple people call Delirious a pedo, which I don't really condone, simply because the allegations are still just allegations, and who knows if they are true. And if I'm being honest, I feel like Ohm has received more hate than Delirious. It's pretty damn obvious if I'm being honest. But Ohmwrecker did also mention alt accounts dating back to May that have been harassing him. I don't know if they really are dating back all the way since before the Keem interview, but I do know that one of them dated back to June, and that is the Pizza Pirate account. Same thing with the Ohm Light account and the Birdwatcher account that dates back to August, and the second one also dates back to August. There are two Birdwatcher accounts. The reason the timing is important is because Liz lied and tried to excuse Delirious's behavior as if it was triggered by harassment. They were not getting harassed. Anyone with 2 brain cells saw that I was getting bombarded daily. Tell me where they were getting bombarded with hate comments / tweets, dislikes, unsubs, etc. They weren't. Her video was more malicious / targeted character assassination. I will agree that Ohm did get bombarded, and Liz Katz's videos did have character attacks, and again, I do agree that Delirious and Liz Katz didn't even get almost any hate for any of this. I've only ever seen the same 6 or 7 people hate on Liz Katz and Delirious, and that very long comment that was made on Liz Katz's video, but honestly that's really it. And I feel like both sides that defend Ohm and Delirious get a little bit out of hand, especially on Twitter, and I don't side with Ohmwrecker or Delirious anymore. At this point, I feel like I have received more flack from Delirious fanboys than Ohm fanboys, which I am honestly not even surprised about, considering that Delirious's fan base is uncomfortably loyal and very fucking big of a community. So kind of poking fun at them can be a little bit of a backfire sometimes from how fucking aggressive they can be sometimes. The lie helps her whitewash / validate Delirious's behavior as if he got too triggered by social media and then resorted to doing terrible things with his countless alts. Honestly, I agree with that as well. I am agreeing way too much with Ohm, and that is dangerous, and that is a new world record, because usually I would just disregard or disagree with a lot of things that he's done, or I just keep it as a maybe a lot of the time. But for those who don't know what whitewashing is, it's basically when someone tries to cover up or disregard bad or incriminating things that someone did. I thought I'd explain it just in case, because Ohm seems to be the only one that uses that word or term very often in this situation. The reality is Delirious was making alts in May, again before the Keem interview, to threaten / stalk / harass me indirectly and directly. He repeatedly used fake accounts to do this via Twitter and email each and every month from May to his suspension. This completely invalidates what Liz claimed in her absolutely ridiculous video, in which she not only knowingly and maliciously published lies about me, but also tried to justify Delirious's behavior by trying to paint it as something I would do. Newsflash, I have no alts meddling in any of this shit on Twitter like he has. Never have. I've always said anything I had to say myself. Her lying about timing and trying to make it out to be something I would do was whitewashing, period, which they've been doing from the start. Again, so I have only ever seen accounts that date back to June, so I can't say that I believe there were accounts and emails that date back to May. And I do agree that every time Liz pointed out something bad about Delirious, she would just try to cushion the blow by saying, "Oh, but that's something Ohm would do, by the way." I do believe that she was using Ohm's fucked up credibility to try and lower the severity of things Delirious did, and it was one of Liz Cat's biggest advantages. And some people think that Ohmwrecker has alt accounts, and some people think that these other people are Ohmwrecker, like for example Doing the Rounds, which is not the case. Ohmwrecker is not Irish and does not have a very strong Irish accent like you know, Doing the Rounds, because Doing the Rounds is his own human being and is not Ohmwrecker, like I said again. But Olivia is also speculated to be Ohmwrecker, and I'm sure she can prove to not be this person. But so far, the only party from both parties that has been caught with alts is obviously Delirious, because Liz Katz has outed her or outed him in his own video. So that's that. I have had the both of them blocked for months. Delirious I blocked in March 2021, Liz in May 2021 after she went at me on Twitter following the Keemstar interview. The last time Delirious tried to contact me and guilt trip me was in April 2021 on Steam. Prior was Discord in March. Considering they've been blocked, neither of them should have even seen anything anyone was saying unless they looked for it on alts or while logged out. I did not see people adding her or Delirious. The accounts Liz showed was, I recall, was typically coming to my Twitter / my tweets defending me on my home turf. Liz and Delirious had to have gone looking for it using alts to see 99% of it. Again, I need to make this clear. Delirious was using fake accounts in May, not August, thus invalidating her ridiculous defense of him just being pushed to the edge by harassment. The Keem interview wasn't even live yet. I have proof of this. I am pursuing whatever recourse is available to me. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there, my bad. When I told people several times over months that Delirious was stalking, harassing, and threatening me with fake accounts, people said I was crazy. He was, and he did. When I said he spoofed Sai's email and tried to throw me off of her in case she contacted me, they said he'd never do that. He did just that. When I said he threatened Amy's baby using a fake account, the same account that had a registration email that was emailing me trying to get access to the girls that had to come forward, only to taunt me on my birthday, people said he'd never do that he's a family man. He did. Even Malika tried showing people that he was DMing her a full week before the Keem interview after they hadn't talked since she denied him 3 years prior. Okay, he basically said the same thing as me for when I said people thought I was lazy when the Pizza Pirate account was Delirious. That's a little bit too coincidental, but regardless, another thing I do want to bring up is that the Ray Harpy account was alleged to be Delirious and sent an email to Ohmwrecker under this account to try and play a Sai, I think. I don't remember the specifics, but it provided an ID, and this was from the Ray Harpy account through that email, and the ID seems to be from California, and as someone who lives in California and has an ID from California, this ID is the fakest one I've ever seen. There is supposed to be a yellow bear on the top right, and the old ones show a yellow rim on the top corners, which is absent in the ID that was provided by the Harpy account. And here's an example of what a real current ID looks like from California. They are called quote-unquote real, all capitalized by the way, ID. So yeah, so if this account were to be Delirious, the Ray Harpy account, then yes, he did use a fake ID. It's a good thing that I am from Cali, the land of the forest fires, because I wouldn't have known this ID would be fake. So yeah, you're welcome. People need to go back and look at what was said from the beginning now that you know that he does use alts to harass, stalk, and threaten people. He did it to me, he did it to the girls, he did it near a decade ago to someone else. I do feel like people did walk over a lot of what has happened and the things against Delirious, especially after what has been brought up and revealed by Liz against Delirious. And there are two sides to a story, and I'll even use that one picture that Louis provided in one of his tweets, and it is a good example because we're only hearing one side and Delirious isn't giving his. And we also didn't know that Delirious had alt accounts. A lot of people thought he was some sort of fucking saint, for example. It's kind of weird. Ask yourself, why isn't Delirious answering the simple questions TJV has been asking? Why hasn't Delirious volunteered to work with authorities, as he's confidently should have been able to do so if he had nothing to hide? I forwarded every fake claim people have made against me, 5 fake claims / doctored screenshots now, immediately to authorities, offering to fully comply if they want to investigate to clear my name. I even emailed Delirious on his Susan Storm fake email persona, offering to introduce him to the authorities involved so he can have me investigated. His response was to fully disable the email account. He wasn't Delirious. Why hasn't Delirious offered to fully work with authorities, and why hasn't he proactively contacted them yet? Why hasn't he filed a suit against me if I'm defaming him / there's no truth to this? Holy shit, I'm having a lot of brain farts. I am sorry. I'm going to leave those in just so you know how stupid I am right now. Honestly, yeah, and I know I'm agreeing with Ohmwrecker on a lot of things, but I'm not really on any side, by the way. I just want to make that clear. I'm not on any side, but yeah, Delirious can easily comply with the police if these claims are fake, and literally just clear his name and with the public statement as well, or simply get a suit on his ass for defamatory actions. Ignoring Ohm and letting the allegations stack as time passes gets a little bit shitty for you, if I'm being honest. Being silent over bullshit is one thing, but not denying them when they stack and connect with other allegations, it's a little bit suspicious, you know? At some point, people are going to see the truth here, and that I've been the one telling it this entire time. I'm already as hurt and upset about it as any of you will be when that day comes. He was a close friend of mine, and I hate that this stuff is real. It's even more hurtful that he resorted to the tactics he did to try and harm me and everything I've worked for. Even people I'm close to in retaliation methods have been used since the origin of his YouTube channel. This isn't new behavior with Delirious, he's done this before. Louis knows firsthand but doesn't want to share for some reason, acting like him, acknowledging his own firsthand knowledge of Delirious as being as bad as outing someone's story of being LGBTQ. This isn't sexuality, it's a matter of a predator who has harmed many people using tactics that Louis and others in the group saw firsthand before. Louis doesn't have to name her, he can simply acknowledge that he has seen Delirious do very vile shit before with fake accounts, RP on a girl who left him after seeing a teenage girl confide in her that Delirious was using her for CP, yet he dodges it, and as you heard in a recent live stream, Delirious has a very big buffer of protectors around him. Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about with the whole thing involving Louis. I personally have no problem with Louis, nor do I know the whole situation with Louis, so I can't really pinpoint my opinion on it. So hey, Louis, if you're watching this, man, this is something for you to explain, not me. If you even would speak about it, I don't really know. Everything I've raised from the beginning has been true. My YouTube career is already on the line for it. I wouldn't sit here continuing to deal with daily harassment if it were fake. There was never any benefit or gain in this. No one would ever think that. I've tried to do what's right. Well, I don't know what the truth is, but hopefully whatever the truth is gets revealed sooner or later, just so I can see the one-sided people from whatever side of the drama make the biggest Pikachu face ever, because that would be the funniest shit ever. Honestly, I feel like this would probably be one of the longest dramas in history, just because I have a feeling that it will go on for a couple years. Again, just a gut feeling. Also, the reason I blurred the picture of the Susan email is because if Delirious proves to be the Susan email, then he can use whatever drama channels that have spoken about the specifics in a way where he can pin the blame on others for illegal shit. So just a heads up to other commentators who have spoken about it. Also, for anyone thinking that TJV is in my pocket, the dude does not like me, he never liked me, and we've never been on good terms. We nearly clashed legally over him publishing a fake claim against me, but he retracted it after realizing it was a fabrication, something people have done to me repeatedly, now in retaliation for supporting claims against Delirious. TJV talks shit about me to this day. I have no idea how anyone could think that what he's reporting on is unfair when you've literally got proof that that Liz was lying with purpose as described above. Holy shit, I cannot speak. I mean, it's not hard to point out that Liz clearly lied and people just blindly ignored. Who gives a shit if it's nitpicking? Literally, people do that with me all the time, and people support that shit 110%. People will always nitpick at anything, and in a situation like this, it helps fill in holes in a situation that, you know, isn't so clear, and who knows who's right or wrong and who's lying. And of course, we can make a conclusion that isn't final because we still don't know if the allegations against Delirious are true or false. It sounds to me like people just want TJV to protect Delirious at any cost and ignore lies or fishy behavior on the other side. Instead of Liz addressing why she lied about timing in a way that made Delirious look better, she blocked him. When Amy reacted out to Liz privately when Liz said she was making a video to clearly attack her, Liz blocked her. Liz didn't want to get to the bottom of anything. Liz wanted to attack and lie about people and whitewash what Delirious was doing. Why wouldn't Liz talk to Amy via DMs if she wanted to present research? Again, she blocked Amy, didn't even ask her a single question. Well, I mean, it's pretty damn obvious that Liz was going for attacks and was going to be very biased about it. She is Delirious's girlfriend after all, and they even have kids too, so I thought she would even point out the actual good, bad, and the ugly. And I really hate how blind some Delirious superfans are, because they ignore anything that does make Delirious look bad. No one is a saint in this situation, and Liz even stated that in her video as well. Okay, this one's incredibly long, so I'm going to do it in one take. If I stutter or have long pauses, I don't give a shit. This one's way too long, I don't give a fuck. TJV said in a recent live stream that Delirious also keeps dodging questions, especially after it was proven that Delirious has been using alts to harass, threaten, stalk, and terrorize people on social media. They weren't even honest on the time timeline of his alts, again, May 2021 before Keemstar, or the number of alts, the fact that he was also making emails, and even at least one Instagram alt. One of his most recent alts, Pizza Pirate 5, was DMing doing the rounds on Twitter, taunting him because Delirious thought he was me, claiming he stalked and reached out to an ex-girlfriend, and he repeated terrible claims slash lies he and now Liz have been throwing out about me. Round suggested in the DMs that Delirious goes to the police to report them, but Delirious' response on his alts was that he'd rather have a public trial, even spent more time reporting myself to authorities to offer full compliance than Delirious has in simply reporting me at all, because he knows that he knows the things that he and Liz have said are lies. They just want to ruin my business, my brand, my character, and my image. Okay, so as someone who has had one talk with Ohmwrecker and DMs with Delirious, literally both of them interact like fucking robots. I ask them one question and they just completely ignore my presence and just type out their entire life story. They literally type paragraphs on top of paragraphs, and then when it comes to my question, they answer with 3 fucking letters. It's irritating. The rest of these paragraphs is shit. I don't really care or have anything to say about it, so I'm just going to keep moving on. Delirious also hasn't released his own suspension email either. Why doesn't Delirious give Twitter permission to share his suspension / alt accounts in full if Liz disclosed the only ones he had? What would Delirious have to hide? I mean, that is a good question. Why hasn't he done that? He is the one that got perma'd from Twitter, and I can say that with full confidence because Delirious hasn't even been unsuspended from Twitter, so it's pretty obvious that it's a perma now. But yeah, he hasn't been unsuspended from Twitter, so what does he have to hide? I don't think that it would be a good idea if Ohm released the email if it was real, because Twitter would probably rip him a new one. But yeah, how about this? I'll be happy to give Twitter permission to reveal / publish if I have any alts meddling in any of this, if Delirious is willing to do the same with all the accounts that he had made going back to May 2021. Are Delirious and Liz willing? My bets are on a hard no, because they know they're lying / hiding things, and if they gave permission to Twitter to release legally, they'd get outed and the truth would be known, including the threats to Amy's baby. They refuse, I'm sure of it. Oh, okay, that is a really good deal in my opinion. If Ohm has alts, I wouldn't be surprised, and if Delirious does refuse this and or ignores it, that would be interesting. This is like a game of poker. I really hope Delirious doesn't deny that deal, because he would be exposing Ohm if he had any bad things behind the curtains, and you know it calls out his bluff. But this is Delirious' chance to fuck over Ohm if that's the case. Unless he's hiding something, that would make it seem very, very sus on Delirious' side indeed. So yeah, it all depends. This is like a game of poker, like I said. Well, for now, that is where I'm going to end it, because that is all for now. So yeah, that was a bunch of reading. I kind of regret it because it was a pain in the ass, but it's whatever. I just want to say again, I'm not on either side. Things seem to be directing towards TJV and Louis now, and most of it's back towards Ohmwrecker, so it's gone from bunny season to water season to bunny season again.
Rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, rabbit season, duck season, fire!